Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
As you were saying, the type of energy that will be derived from the biogas, the energy that you can derive from the biogas, the renewable energy. Hello,
Hello?
can you hear me?
Yes, go right ahead. We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you.
yes, we can hear you. You said renewable
Okay,
energy. So what, in
yeah,
what
yeah, it's
form?
renewable energy. So when you talk about biogas, it simply means you're going to extract energy from organic waste in the absence of oxygen. So the system is supposed to be airtight and watertight. And as the system becomes airtight and watertight, it produces microorganisms by itself. And those microorganisms are going to feed on the solids that comes into the system and break it down to a simple compound. From there, they convert it into the methane gas. And the gas can be trapped and can be used for cooking. That is for the domestic. Because domestic structures that we build cannot give us enough energy that can use to run a generator to power a house. Why? Because the more you have the waste, the more you're able to get energy. But domestically, we don't have that enough waste that we can get more energy for lighting. But the energy that we get can be used for cooking, and it's a clean gas. Then also, as my sister was saying, with a traditional septic tank, when you install the tank, you need to buy iron rod, you need to buy blocks, you need to do excavation. It's also equally, the amount is equally same to that of the biogas. The only difference is that with a traditional septic tank, with time, the system will be full and you have to call the people to come and pull the waste out. And pulling the waste out also comes with a cost. So it makes the running of the system more expensive going forward. But with the biogas system, your waste will be converted into energy. So therefore, there's no need for you to call the latrine people to come and pull your waste out anymore. Then two, it also helps to mitigate carbon emission that goes into the atmosphere. So in one way or the other, we also have to, reduce the global warming. It is also going to create job for the youth that we're going to train to have hands on how to install the system, and also what do you call it? Those who sells building materials like cement, like iron rods. When we start the project, we're definitely going to source materials locally. It's also going to give them job. So in a way, we're looking at ways and means that we can give our people a livelihood, by which it will help also, help control, or let me put this way, like to take care of our environment. Because when they even dislodge the waste, sometimes it is difficult for them to get a place even disposing it. So if we capture the waste and convert it into renewable energy, which we can use, I think in one way or the other, we are helping the environment from being polluted. If I think I'll end it here. If anybody had any question, I think they can ask, and based on the questions, we can prove further.
Just, Kwame, can I just ask you, so can we then use, you know, like in Gambia, there is just so much waste now just lying on the sides of the roads where people are dumping their waste because there's nowhere to put the waste.
Okay.
Would the, you know, being able to use biogas, would that help with this situation?
Yeah, anything that is biodegradable, when it goes into the digester, it will ferment and be converted into methane gas, which is the renewable energy. But plastics are not allowed because plastics are not biodegradable substance.
What we can do is, Chris didn't come onto the call tonight, but I will talk with him. And if we need to, we can do a call with him because Chris is the brother here that's making the bricks for cooking out of trash. So we need to talk to him and see, you know, where they're at in that project and if we can develop something from that project because obviously with all this trash around here, they could be doing more to where it could be making a visible difference because at the same time we're seeing all this trash, we're also seeing people cutting down trees. I'm seeing them every day, you know, trucks moving with tree branches and stuff on it that they're using to make the charcoal and they're using for fire. So yeah, I'll do that. I'll make sure that I check in with him and see if I can find out where he is with that project because that can be really helpful too. Other thing, Kwame, when you say that the domestic is not really producing enough for us to power a house because just a single family doesn't produce enough waste for that. That's, you know, that's good to know because initially I didn't really know that. I didn't realize that. But at a school or a clinic or something like that, we will be able to produce enough for it to be utilized.
Yeah, that's a commercial facility, yeah.
Or
And so how many families in a community would have to come together to have a system that would power the energy needs for how many families would you say in a village or community?
For domestic, averagely, if a person visit the washroom, the person releases 0.4 kg of waste. And out of this 0.4 kg of waste, the biogas or the energy aspect that you can derive is 0.04 cubic meters. And the energy you need to cook per person per day is 0.25 cubic meters. So average, we're looking at 5 people in a house. That's domestic, meaning we can get enough waste to be able to use for cooking. But for electricity aspect, then we're looking at institutions like prison, institutions like hospitals where we have large number of people using the facility, or in our villages where people have cattle, bunch of cattle that they are rearing. We can have enough waste from there into the digester, and that waste we can get enough energy out of it and connect it into a biogas genset that can give that particular village a light. And apart from the light also, the effluent, that is the wastewater that comes out, goes through a system called ABR, or anaerobic buffer reactor. It reacts with the carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide. So before the water comes out, it's clean, And that water or that effluent can be used for farming as a liquid manure. Hello?
Yes, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. So what I hear you saying, it's not really practical for us to consider using this technology when building residential units. If we're yes. So even if we bring together several different families, it still wouldn't be enough. We would need enough for institution size.
Yeah, when we're talking about domestic one, for domestic biogas plants, the benefit you can derive from domestic biogas plant, one is the environment. That is where your waste will not be full for you to call the people to come and dislodge your waste. So one, it's
Sorry,
going to
Kwame, did I not hear you say that if you have a family of about 5 people, that would produce enough energy for us to do cooking?
Yes, please.
That's what you said, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if it was a larger community, like a village, it would be able to power the light.
Yeah.
Oh.
If you used cattle.
So let's say let's say an estate, a community like an estate, where we have a centralized sewage treatment system, a centralized biogas waste treatment system. For that one, we'll be able to have enough waste that we'll be able to get energy that we can use to get electricity.
Kodu, you got that?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I just ask, so if you have, hello everybody, if you built a biogas system in your small community and then other people came into the area and started building in that community, how easy is it to connect other compounds to the central biogas system? And is it a lower cost for the people that join after the main system has been built? Is it affordable for them to then join onto the biogas system, like compared to building a septic tank for themselves?
Good question.
Good. Yeah. If you want us to have a system that other people can join later, that means there's supposed to be a networking for we to know that, okay, this specific area, we're going to have no less than 1,500 structures here. And out of these 1,500 structures, this is the target population. Based on this analysis, we'll be able to say we should have a centralized sewage system at this point. And that one, the cost is different from having a domestic biogas, because we're talking about industrial biogas system. Do you get me?
Okay. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, that's industrial biogas system. That one, the cost is different from the one we're talking of. And with that, we can get enough waste because the entire community's waste will come into that system with the centralized biogas waste treatment system. Then the enough waste that we get, we're going to get enough energy, which we can use it to power a biogenset to give the place light.
That sounds good. And how much space is needed for a biogas system of that capacity? How much actual ground space is needed? Does it take up?
For a centralized one?
Yes.
Oh, that one is, I think I have to, first of all, get, for that one, first of all, I have to conduct one, feasibility study. 2, I have to know the target population, the number of structures at that place, then also the nature of land. And based on this, I'll be able to do my analysis and come up with a cost. Because that is huge.
Yeah, because I'm wondering if the biogas system, it goes under the ground, and then can things be built on top of it? Or I'm just wondering how large the system itself is for a community, the large one that we're speaking about. How much space does it take up, and you know, can things go on
For a
top of it, or
community-
does it have to? Yeah.
For a community, you can have a size of 400 cubic meters. 400 cubic meters biodigester. That is huge. That is huge. And with that, we also have to do the networking. The networking is about doing the piping from one structure to the other into the centralized sewage system. That's what I was saying. With that, we have to carry a feasibility study to be able to know what and what we have to put together so that we can be able to get to the cost.
I understand, and I'm just wondering, because I don't know what they actually look like. I can see a picture behind Rima, sorry, is that how you pronounce it? And behind her head, but can things be built on top of it after it's been built under the ground? Can you, you know,
what you see there, what you see in there, what you see in there is a project I was doing way back in 2016 for a community for one of the ministers. And now it is not complete. When it's complete, the whole thing will be buried underground where you don't even see the system. And the system, the architectural plan is built in a such a way that it distributes the pressure that is exerted on it in two directions. So therefore, when we are done with it and you even park your car on it, it will not have any effect on the system.
Me too. I am sorry about the background noise. Yeah, I understand. Sorry, my final question, then I'll let somebody else talk. I can't remember it now, it's going out of my head. So I'm just wondering about, so for example, in Gunjur, probably in a lot of other areas, there's some old quarries, like just big places where they used to have collect sand, I guess, and they're just big empty quarries that are just disused. If you were to put a biogas system in a disused area like a quarry, is there special planning permission that's needed, or because it's not on your private land, it's on, I guess, government-owned land? Maybe you can't answer that question. I'm not sure if someone else in the group knows the answer to that.
I would say because of some of that land that they were quarrying on, some of it is government land. So it might be, that's a very good question, and I will follow up on that, because that might be a really good thing to do on some of that land that's been messed over like that, to do a system that could serve the community there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Good use of space rather than just as a rubbish dump, which is what they're being used for now. Thank you.
I'll follow up on that.
Thank you.
Can I just ask, what is the maintenance cost of having this system? If you had a domestic house system, what's the maintenance cost? If you had a village community or a school, ongoing maintenance cost? Because when you know, just listening to this is really something that we should be doing all over Africa. We're supposed to, because especially like in places like Gambia, like the streets, you know, obviously that would be in the future, but I'm just saying it wouldn't, I don't think that it would be free, because I'm assuming that there would be some kind of maintenance cost to keep the system going.
So what I saw, I know Kwame probably has a different experience and other experiences to share, but what I saw, for example, at that shopping mall, they had an attendant in there all day. there was someone that stays there at the bathrooms, in both the men and the women's bathroom. So when you would come, the bathrooms were immaculately clean all the time. And they always had tissue. It was like, I guess, I mean, I felt like it was because the bathroom was valuable because it was powering the shopping mall. But I think having, in that case, not like in the home, but I know what you're asking. You're asking, are there going to be repairs? Is it going to be breakdown? Is there like certain kind of maintenance that has to happen after so many years or whatever? So that's a little different, I guess. But before, Kwame and I was approaching a project there in Ghana, where you had 4 toilets inside and 4 toilets outside on the school. And the maintenance would have been paid for by some of the gas, because you're getting the gas, you're actually making money. And I also wrote up a proposal for Clean the Beaches, where it would be toilets that could be used by people in the villages along the beach. And the gas that they would make from the biogas system that they could sell would be able to offset the cost of maintenance, just general, keeping it clean and maintained, and keeping toilets or sinks or whatever had to be maintained there. But Kwame, if you could chime in and just share like whatever has to be done in terms of maintenance to the place, like when does it have to actually be emptied, and how, and what that looks like, over time.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm not sure Kwame heard the question.
Hello? Hello? Oh,
Okay, I can hear you. I don't know if,
yeah. About the maintenance, she was
yes.
asking of the maintenance. Yeah, if the biosystem is properly installed by someone who knows or who is expert on the job and uses the right equipment for the system, it is of less maintenance. What happens is that when the microorganisms are feeding on the waste that comes into the digester, there are small ones that box up, fall under the digester. It boxes and turn into natural fertilizer, which in 25 or 50 years time, you just have to open the lid and scoop it out. After scooping it out, you close it back and the system keeps running again. So biogas system properly installed is of less maintenance.
Okay, you said that's after 25, about 25 years that you can
Yeah.
open it, and it's like solid waste that you can take out and you can use that as fertilizer
Yes.
and seal the system again.
Yeah. The system keeps running again.
So other than that, none of the parts and stuff that, have to be, will break down and have to be replaced and stuff like that.
No, 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 no.
So you can
Amazing.
tell them too what the system is made of, how it's done, and what materials you actually use.
The material, we use cement. We also use hydrated lime. We also use waterproof. Then we also use earth brick, iron rods to construct the system.
Okay. Any other questions?
The cost, what's the cost to set that system up? You know, pay for those materials, set that system up in a domestic house and then again in a community like a school.
And what's the estimated
estate.
time? Estimated time to install, to build one?
Oh, it will take me, 14 working days to install one for you. And the cost for domestic is $3,500.
So the $3,500,
Yes, please.
that is for a family.
That's for a family, yeah.
Is that for a family?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's for a family. Yeah.
And that's just a one-off payment. Huh? If it was a school, would it be any much different in cost?
Yeah, the school will be different in cost because the school, in terms of our target population, we will have more people. As we have more people, the size of the digester also is going to be bigger as compared to a domestic one. So the price differ.
And can you just describe what that price would entail? What would that price include? Would it
For the school?
For a I'm speaking about a domestic system.
Okay, for the domestic system, the price is $3,500, as I said earlier, dollars.
So that would power both cooking and electricity, or would depend, of course it would depend on the amount of waste, but in terms of the connections, would it be connected to the power outlet, power source for the residents?
That one can only save you from frequent cesspit emptier costs. Then two, you'll be able to get energy that you can use for cooking. That's for the domestic.
That's just basically free cooking gas, plus you're saving the money that you would use to have to empty your septic tank every so many years and that kind of thing. Okay, so that's the saving that you would make. Okay, all right. And if it was a community, then I'm hoping that the more families on board, we would lessen the price per family.
Hello, please come again. The network was bad, so I couldn't hear her. So if she can come back again.
Grace, the question you were asking, she said, if it's a community and a network of people doing like a larger digester, would it end up costing them less per family, than doing the individual?
Yeah, what do you call it? An institutional plant or biogas plant is more expensive than a domestic one. Why? Because one, the target population as compared to a domestic is very high, and two, It is the number of people who are going to use the system also determine the size of the system you have to build. And the size of the system also determines the materials that you have to buy, the materials you have to use, then also the labor cost and what they call it, our professional services cost. That is why I said earlier on that. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, sorry, Kwame, yeah, what I wanted to say, yes, I know, of course, for a bigger system, it's gonna cost more money. But I'm saying, for example, if that bigger system was, because I wanted to ask you as well, if you have 20 families in a community that have all bought land in a community, and that's families, say that there's like
no,
4 or 5
if you have
people
20,
in each
yeah,
household.
I get you.
And
I get you. If you have
system, 1 month. Yeah, no, but listen, yeah, I'm saying how,
I've not got,
if you done that, would
I've not gotten your
that
question.
community, would they produce enough for light?
No, 20 people cannot
Can you hear
give you
me?
light. Yeah, I can hear you now. If you
No,
have
no,
20
not 20 people. Okay, not 20 people. No, I
like,
said if you have 20 families in different houses, there could be like 4 or 5 people. Biogas, would that be enough power light? And those families, would that be enough to power light?
Mute their mics, please.
hello? That will not be enough to power light if I get your question, well, because the network keeps breaking.
Can you mute everybody, please?
Yeah.
Hello?
I think if Adija could turn off her mic. Okay, what I was trying to ask Kwame is, so for example, if you have 20 families sharing different houses in like a close vicinity of each other, come together as a community, and they shared a biogas system, would that system be enough to power light in that area for them? And also, would the cost, now I know obviously there's more people, so the biogas system is going to be bigger and more commercial, but would the cost per family be brought down from the 3,500 because this cost being spread across the 20 families?
You're on mute. Unmute yourself, please.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to know, is that 20 family or 5 family?
So 20 families, but for example, some families might have 3 people living in the house, some might have 5 or more living in the house if they were renting out space or whatever. So it's 20 families, not 20 people. So if that 20 families bought a big plot of land and shared
let me give you the analysis.
system.
Let me give you the analysis. 20 family where in a structure we can say 3 people or 4 people. So the numbers are less. We're looking at from let's say 500 to 1,000 plus population. from 500 to 1,000 plus population, will be able to generate enough waste that will be able to give us enough energy that can run the biogas genset to give you light. So it depends on the target population. We can have like 50 structures, but the target population will be like 20 people living in those 50 structures. So even when we have the system, because of the numbers over there, we will be able to have enough waste that will give us enough energy that we can use to power the genset.
Okay, so you're saying it's about 500 people would be needed in a community, or
Yeah,
like, you know, 500 people just come.
500 and above, yeah, 500 and above people.
Yeah, for commercial use.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask, how far away can people connect to the system from? So in terms of miles or meters, how far away? Is it just as far as you can spread the pipelines? Is there a limit on how many miles or meters away someone needs to be to connect to the system?
So are you referring to the domestic one or the centralized sewage system?
If you could give an example for both, that would be great.
Okay. For domestic, first of all, we need to go around the structure and look at where the gradient is, because the waste has to flow by means of gravity and not mechanic. So we look at where the gradient is, then we can position, or we can, say this is the right place, or this is the ideal place where we can have the system constructed, so that when you do your pipe works, it can easily flow into the system.
Okay, I understand. So otherwise, I guess there's a risk of blockages and waste not moving through the pipelines. Is that right?
No, there's not going to be any form of blockages if it is if the site feasibility study is well conducted, and you know this is the gradient and you do it over there, everything flows in easily. And then
Okay,
also, if what you call it, you have more washrooms in the structure, then it will be ideal that instead of using 4 inches PVC pipe, you use 6 inches PVC pipe as the plumber. The plumber has to use 6 inches PVC pipe to do the pipe works for you. But if you want us to do the pipe works also in addition to the bio system, but I actually want to train people to give them livelihood to know how to do this work. So I'm sure when we come, we'll be training some people in Gambia who will take up this opportunity.
Okay, so the work that you do with the biogas system, it doesn't include the pipeline connections? Is that what you were just saying?
No, external plumbing works are different from the, what they call it, the biosystem. This one, the money that we quoted for the domestic, which is the $3,500, is for the construction of the biogas plant.
I see, yeah.
And it's pipe works within, but the external plumbing works, that is different.
Okay. So by external plumbing works, you're just talking about the connection from
Yes,
the,
please.
I don't know, toilet to the biogas system.
Yes.
So
All
are
right.
you, when you say external, are you talking about in the domestic?
Yeah, that is applicable to that of the domestic.
System that you do? Are you, so the cost that you told us, the 3,005, so does that mean that that cost, if I'm on my compound and I need the biogas system to connect to my toilet, so that's not going to include that piping that's needed for that? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's not going to include external pipe works. But within the system, there are pipe works we do. That's what we call it internal plumbing works.
Okay,
That one
everything
we do it
for
out.
active digester is
Yes,
included.
yes.
I'm glad
Okay.
for that clarification. That was actually my question. What would it include? What would that? So would a regular plumber be able to make those connections, or would I need somebody that has biogas expertise to make the external connections?
That's a good question.
Yes.
So far as I'm there, as an expert, I'll be able to direct, if you have a plumber, I'll be able to supervise a plumber to do the right thing into the biosystem. Or if you want me to do it too, we can give you an estimate and do it, that one also for you.
So what is like a typical cost for the piping from the toilet in the house or from the home to the biogas system right on your compound or right next to your house?
You wouldn't be able to, give overall cost because each structure and the compound would differ from one to the other. So maybe it is 4-bedroom apartment, or let's say it is a 2-bedroom apartment. So the number of rooms will determine the number of pipes you have to buy to run. Then also the distance where the system is going to be, constructed to where the pipes have to start from will also determine the number of pipes you have to buy. So that one, unless you're on site before you'll be able to, do that and be able to give an estimate on that.
The thing about it is, Rahema, though, it's not going to be very costly, because it's like the other day when I was getting some, well, I don't think it should be very costly, because if
that
it's a
one is not
tank that's
costly.
in the ground
It's
like
not
a septic tank,
Yeah,
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 if it's a tank that's already in the ground like a septic tank, plumbers know how to connect the external from the internal. They'll come and they'll measure out how much pipage they're going to need and all of that,
very good.
and then
Very
they'll
good.
connect it. So unless it's got some very complex way of connecting it, if it's just basic connecting the plumbing straight into the tank, then the plumber should be able to do that, and it shouldn't be very costly.
The difference is that the conventional septic tank, that is the traditional septic tank. Now, when we are doing the piping, it goes in direct, but with the biogas system, that's why I said you just give the person the know-how, you'll be able to do it. The service line which is coming into the biogas plant is supposed to be, let's say, 3 inches or 4 inches higher than that of the inlet of the bio tank. That's the only difference. So any plumber can be coached to be able to do it.
Okay.
Wanted to ask, I don't
Could
actually
you
know
just speak a little bit on this training opportunity? Sorry.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just going to ask Kwame and Rahima to just speak a little bit on the training opportunity for people to learn how to, install biogas.
Okay. So the training mostly, like we're focusing on the youth. We're focusing on the youth learning and utilizing this as an opportunity for them to gain a skill, and also there'll be a business component so that they'll be able to run their own biogas business. And, you know, the idea is to really focus on supporting these youth so that they see opportunity for themselves here that can help deter them from taking those suicide missions going across the sea or across the desert. That's the main thing.
Okay, great. And how can so you will tell us anyway how we can refer young people onto the program, but I know we've got already young people that you've been talking to about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, great. If you know of any young people, and they can be diasporans as well as young people here that may be interested in learning, just send me a message. Send me a message and then I'll put them in the group, or I can do an invite and send it to you so that you can connect to the group, because we have a group. The main core group is they started in Gunjur, called Back to Our Roots. And that's the main group. But we also have youth that have fed into that group, because the idea is to expand back to our roots so that it includes youth from all around the country. And then eventually we want to expand to beyond the borders of the Gambia. But we can start with the youth all around the Gambia, because we found that the youth that were going the back way were youth, they were leaving from Gunjur, but it's concluding youth from the North Bank, from Bada, from Brikama, from out in the provinces. Youth come from everywhere. These traffickers are able to get in touch with these youth all over the country. And they come, the last space that they've been using the boats using to go from is Gunjur. But yeah, it's open to any of the youth.
Sounds like a great program.
Thank
Sorry
you.
to interrupt. I think you were going to say something.
No, there's no interruption. Thank you. And anyone that wants to work with us or support us in any way, it's great, because, you know, there are a lot of little things that need to be done. We have there girls and young men in this Back to Our Roots. And some of them are already doing different things. Some of them have skills already, but some of them are very much interested in the biogas.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. When I was living in the Gunjur, I was surprised by how much people I hear of that are going the back route to Europe.
Yeah.
I seem to hear a bit more often because I guess that's where they go from. So people would be saying, "Oh, such and such has gone the back route," or "My friend's going the back," or "My friend's trying to convince me to go with him to go the back route to Europe." So I was just surprised by how common it is. Since I've moved up to Serekunda, I don't really hear about it at all, but it is quite a big problem.
Yeah, it's a big problem. We just about 4 months ago, I think it was, well, there was 80, and more than eight of them died within a week, leaving the shores, and then 140 left sometime within a 2-week span of those. And then the last group was 8 of them. They said they were on a blow-up boat, and all of them died. You know, the 140, I don't think we've heard from where they are yet. Nobody really knows where they are. I heard that they may have been in some prison in Mauritania, but I'm not sure. But the shocking thing is that it can be a youth sitting right next to you.
Do you think contact or with help from, I don't know, other than another meeting Minister
Is
of
talking
Waste, somebody
to
representing from the Minister of Waste, and also someone from
you, you know, everything, because the conversation from a couple of the youth. Say that again, please. I didn't understand you.
someone
You
to do
said,
with the youth and to open opportunities for discussion, you know? and starting up with people in the Gambia.
Grace, I didn't really hear what you said. I missed some of what you said. Grace? Maybe it's the connection. Okay, are there any other questions?
Sorry,
It must be your connection because you're going in and out. Can't really hear. I need to get on to the call with the youth. So I'm gonna close this out. But if anybody has any other questions, you can please just let me know. Just PM me, let me know. And oh, and we're looking at Kwame is gonna be coming here in June. It'll be the latter part of June, in the second half of June. So yeah. if
Thank you
have
for
any-
this session. It's been great, very useful, informative.
Oh, good, thank you. Please just hit me up if you have any other questions, any of you,
yeah,
okay?
thanks very much, Emma. Thank you, Kwame.
Yes, it's
All right. Thank you all. Thank you all for attending and share the information.
You're welcome.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
all right.
Good night. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you all for coming.